Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be sharing some very useful tips to help you transform your art from looking like this to looking like this in just a few days. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to my absolutely free guide on how to create realistic drawings with colored pencils. The link will be in the description, more on that later. So the first tip is to make sure your outlines are always accurate. The outlines define the boundary of your art, and without an accurate outline, every other thing you do will not look good. I use the grid line method for my outlines, and I've got an entire video on that which you can check out later. Now, one thing you should do is to always lighten your outline with either a kneaded eraser or the regular eraser. This is to avoid having visible outlines in the final drawing. Visible outlines will give you a more cartoonish look rather than a realistic one. Layering is everything when it comes to realistic colored pencil art. I've got numerous videos on here about how to layer with colored pencils, but to keep it simple, layering simply means shading colors one on top of the other in order to create depth and to make our drawings look a lot more realistic. Without layering, our drawings will look flat, two-dimensional, and nowhere near realistic. That is why it is absolutely crucial in the context of realistic art with any medium and not just with colored pencils. I sometimes work with acrylic and oil paint, and layering is just as crucial with painting as it is with pencil art. Again, I've got lots of videos on layering where I go into details about the topic. I'll put a few of them in the description. Now, layering and blending go hand in hand. Blending is simply a way of merging layers together in order to have a smooth transition between the layers. There are two main ways of blending. One is the use of the burnishing technique, and the other is the use of solvents, like you can see me do in this video. Blending also helps to create depth by hiding the tooth of the paper, helping make the drawing look a lot more three-dimensional in the process. Personally, I like to use the solvent technique in most of my artworks except for when I'm doing human portraits, where I prefer to use the burnishing technique. I find that using the solvent technique for drawing skin can sometimes lead to an unrealistic looking skin texture. Now, it's still doable, but I find it's a lot easier to create a more natural looking skin with the burnishing technique rather than using the solvent. For most of my other artworks though, I use the solvent technique. Now, the white colored pencil is one of the most important pencils in the context of colored pencil art. It helps to create different shades of the same color depending on how it is applied, hence avoiding the need to use different shades of the same color in certain aspects of the drawing. If you learn to use it accurately, you will find it will become one of your favorite colored pencils. This is a very important one. Learn to see things differently. Now, the portion you see me color in this shot is actually a pinkish area, although it may appear whitish in the reference image. It is subtle attention to details like these that actually make the drawing stand out. When in doubt, you can always use a color picker to help you select the appropriate color for a particular section or area. This is crucial if you want to have a realistic looking drawing. Now, while we're on the subject of details, let's just actually discuss it in detail. I've always described details as the last pieces of the puzzle. They should almost always come last. In this drawing, there are the tiny white specks on the body of the apple. It can be very tempting, especially for most beginners, to draw the detail a lot earlier than they are supposed to, and this is understandable. Details are actually what makes the drawing pop, and in an attempt to make your drawings realistic, you may end up rushing through it just so you can get to the details. This is actually very wrong. In most cases, the details are very subtle additions to the drawing. They are very subtle, but yet add a lot to the overall look of the drawing. If you rush through the layering process and overdo the details, your drawing will not look realistic, or at least as realistic as it's supposed to. The key is to be patient with your layers and build it up patiently until you are convinced. After, you can gently apply the details on top of the layers. Although the detail should be the last thing you do, that doesn't mean you can't go back and reshade a few areas. You can always do so if you think it's necessary. Now, before you leave, let me introduce you to my free guide on the basics of realistic colored pencil art, where I take you through all the basic things you need to know about realistic colored pencil drawing. I go through all the basic tools you need and all the basic techniques you require in order to achieve realism with your drawings. The link will be in the description. I strongly recommend it for all beginners and intermediate learners. If you want to learn more, check out this video. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. Have a great day.